I stand in my parents' kitchen on Christmas Eve, my hands slightly shaking as I arrange rosemary sprigs around the roasted turkey. The silver tray reflects the chandelier's glow, showing my flushed face. From the dining room, my mother's voice floats in, sweet and proud, as she introduces my younger sister. This is Melissa, the pride of our family. She's now handling public relations for Bloomfield Industries, Evelyn Hale announces, her tone warm with admiration. Senior position, you know. Only 29 and already making waves in corporate America. The guests murmur with approval. Among them, I recognize Senator Williams's voice. Another Christmas Eve spent among Connecticut's elite, while I stay hidden in the kitchen. And your other daughter? Someone asks. There's a pause. Christine is around somewhere, my mother replies casually. She's quite handy in the kitchen. My stomach tightens. 15 years of building Aurora Events into a multi-million-dollar company, and to my mother, I remain the daughter who cooks. The turkey feels heavy in my hands as I straighten my shoulders and step through the swinging door. The room grows quiet, 12 pairs of eyes turning, not toward me, but toward the dish I've labored over for 8 hours. Here she is now, my mother says with a stiff smile. As I set the turkey at the center of the table, surrounded by Waterford crystal, Wedgwood china, and sterling silver flatware gleaming under the chandelier, she adds with a dry laugh, at least Christine is useful for something. Heat rises to my face. Senator Williams' wife offers a sympathetic glance. I'm 33, coordinating presidential fundraisers and celebrity weddings, yet here I stand, treated as if I were staff. The cranberry sauce is my grandmother's recipe, I manage to say, my voice steadier than I feel. My mother waves it off. Christine always did follow instructions well. I retreat to the kitchen, leaning against the marble counter. After all these years, I'm still just the helper. The thought lands heavy. 15 years, I whisper, stunned, and nothing has changed. I remember my first Christmas dinner at 18, eager to please after choosing culinary school over the Ivy League path my parents expected. While Melissa opened designer gifts, I stayed in the kitchen, desperate not to disappoint with my cooking. Only yesterday, Elizabeth had praised my business skills after I secured the Horizon Resorts contract, a $2.5 million deal that put Aurora Events on the national stage. You're a strategic genius. Christine, she had said with genuine admiration. They never saw you coming. The kitchen door swings open. My mother appears, silver-streaked hair styled perfectly, her crimson dress fitted to hide time's touch. The senator is waiting for dessert, she says, checking her pearl watch. What's taking so long? I glance at the pies and trifles I had prepared before dawn. Something shifts inside me, a quiet resistance. I need a moment, I say, untying my apron. Her eyes narrow. Don't be dramatic, Christine. This is what you're good at. My father enters behind her, his tall frame slightly bent, expression uneasy but silent. Richard Hale, once a strong businessman, now retired and unwilling to cross his wife of nearly 40 years. Is there a problem? He asks softly. Christine is having one of her moods, my mother replies. I'm not having a mood, I say evenly. I'm recognizing a pattern. My father shifts, uncomfortable. Through the window, snow falls on the manicured estate, bought with the profits from the business he sold. The one he never thought to share with me, despite my business degree. My mother gestures impatiently toward the desserts. The Hendersons and the Williamsons are waiting. Do you realize how important this night is for your sister's connections? The message is clear. My success doesn't count. Only Melissa's matters. I'll bring them out, I say, lifting the first tray. She nods and leaves. My father hesitates as though about to speak, then follows her silently. In the dining room, I serve each guest with the same polished smile I use at high-profile events, where billionaires show me more respect than my own family. Melissa sits at the far end, her blonde hair catching the light, her laughter smooth as she entertains Senator Williams with stories of her latest PR win. As I serve the last slice of truffle tart, my phone vibrates. Discreetly, I check it. A message from Elizabeth. Emergency at the office. Horizon contract issue. Need you now, I know the truth. There is no emergency, just our signal, her offering me an escape. I stand there facing a choice. Preserve the family's peace or assert my own worth. The faces blur as I decide. I have to go, I announce, folding the serving napkin. Business emergency. My mother's eyes harden. On Christmas Eve? Surely it can wait. It's the Horizon contract, I reply. For the first time tonight, I see recognition flicker in her eyes. She knows the name. Christine runs some catering business, she explains to Senator Williams, her voice dripping with dismissal. Event planning, actually, I correct calmly. I corrected her gently. We're coordinating Horizon's national brand relaunch. The senator raises his eyebrows, clearly impressed. The Horizon deal? That's a major contract. My mother's smile stiffens. Melissa's eyes flick between us. Suddenly alert. I really must go, I say, picking up my coat and purse from the kitchen. Outside, Elizabeth's car idles in the circular driveway, snow piling on the windshield. Her worried eyes meet mine as I slide into the passenger seat. Same as last year? She asks softly. Worse, I reply. They know exactly what I do. They just choose not to acknowledge it. As the car pulls away, I watch the warm glow of the family home fade in the side mirror. The realization hardens inside me, shifting from hurt to resolve. This is the last holiday I'll spend as their servant, I say quietly but firmly. Elizabeth nods, her hands steady on the wheel as we leave Connecticut behind, heading back to the life I built without their approval or recognition. I push open the heavy oak doors of the Willowbrook Country Club on a cold Wednesday afternoon. The scent of lemon polish and old money fills the air. 3 days after leaving my parents' Christmas dinner, Elizabeth convinced me to retrieve the business portfolio I'd forgotten in my father's study during a rare visit last month. They'll be at the club board meeting, she had assured me. In and out, no confrontation. The main hall stretches before me, polished marble and ancestral portraits on every wall. A familiar laugh echoes from the reading room to my left, Melissa's laugh, practiced and melodic. I stop mid-step. The contract signing is next week. So your timing couldn't be better. It's my mother's voice, hushed but clear. Christine has no idea we know about the Horizon deal. My heart pounds against my ribs. I edge closer to the half-open door. The Williamsons are on the Horizon board, Melissa says. Their daughter works in legal. She confirmed it's worth over $2 million. My father clears his throat. Keep your voice down, Melissa. No one's here on a Wednesday afternoon, Dad, she replies. Besides, who cares about Christine's little catering business? Event planning, my mother corrects. Which is why this Horizon situation is becoming problematic. The Williamsons mentioned Christine by name at the Christmas party before we could redirect the conversation. I press my back to the wall. Breathing shallow, I've been calling her vendors for months, Melissa continues. Dropping hints about financial instability. Most were receptive, especially after I mentioned my PR background. The floor tilts beneath me. Months. She's been doing this for months, a rustle of papers. This file has everything: financial reports, client lists, vendor relationships. She's surprisingly good at business for someone who couldn't get into Yale, my father says, voice tinged with reluctant admiration. Good enough to embarrass this family if she keeps succeeding, my mother snaps. What happens when the Thompsons discover our daughter, the one who cooks Christmas dinner, is making more than their son at Goldman Sachs? I've planted seeds with 3 Horizon executives, Melissa says. Just enough doubt about Aurora's capacity to handle their national relaunch. One even suggested revisiting parts of the proposal. The wall feels cold against my burning skin. My fingers curl into fists. Is that wise? My father asks. What if she traces it back to us? Richard, please, my mother replies, dripping with contempt. Christine still wants our approval too much to see the truth. She spent 15 years thinking we simply don't understand her business. The girl makes desserts for senators while serving them herself. The truth lands like ice water in my veins. They've always known. The dismissals, the belittling comments, the endless kitchen duties, none of it was ignorance. It was strategy. I slip away from the door before they emerge, ducking into an alcove behind a massive fern. My mind races, reassembling 15 years of history like puzzle pieces clicking into place. Melissa's visits timed around major contracts, her questions about vendors and finances, the strange pattern of clients backing out after family gatherings, the health inspector who arrived hours before the governor's fundraiser last spring, citing an anonymous tip. None of it was coincidence. My executive suite at Aurora now feels less like a professional triumph and more like a target. Each family interaction reclassifies from disappointing to dangerous. Every lost contract reframes from bad luck to calculated sabotage. For 15 years, I've been fighting with one hand tied behind my back, believing my greatest weakness was my own insecurity. My family hasn't been ignoring my success. They've been working to destroy it, and now they're targeting Horizon Resorts, the contract that would lift Aurora events from regional success to national prominence. The deal I've spent 18 months securing. My phone buzzes with a text from Elizabeth. Everything okay? I stare at the screen, a strange calm settling over me. The hurt daughter wants to storm into the reading room and expose their betrayal. But the CEO in me sees a deeper truth. They wouldn't do this if they weren't afraid of my success. I send a quick reply. Meet me at the office. Emergency strategy meeting. 20 minutes later, I stride into Aurora's conference room where Elizabeth waits, worry etched on her face. The floor-to-ceiling windows frame the Manhattan skyline, the empire I built without their approval. They know everything, I tell her, my voice steadier than I feel. Melissa has been undermining Aurora for years, and my parents have allowed it to happen. Elizabeth shows no surprise. She opens her laptop, pulling up a folder titled Family Incidents. I've been documenting this for months, she admits. Strange coincidences that always happen after your family, gatherings, clients suddenly questioning. Aurora's abilities. She turns the screen toward me. The sabotage always peaks whenever we're close to a breakthrough. Like the Horizon project. Why didn't you tell me? I ask, not accusingly, but honestly. Would you have believed me? Elizabeth replies softly. You needed to see it yourself. The office door opens. James Wilson, my CFO, enters without knocking. At 61, he carries financial reports as if they're weapons. I ran the numbers you wanted, he tells Elizabeth, then notices my face. You told her? She found out herself, Elizabeth answers. James lays a spreadsheet before me. Client cancellations and vendor issues mapped against family interactions. The correlation is undeniable. The graph shows spikes in business disruptions after holidays, birthdays, and country club events. My stomach knots, recalling the Valentine's Day gala when my mother introduced Melissa to the Sandersons, who pulled out of negotiations a week later. Why? I whisper. What could drive them to this? Elizabeth and James exchange a look. Your mother needs Melissa to be the successful daughter, Elizabeth says gently. And your father's investments haven't done well. The country club alone costs... That's not an excuse, I cut in. Sharper than I expect. No, James agrees. But knowing their reasons helps us predict what they'll do next. He points to the Horizon contract timeline. They're desperate. Your success threatens Melissa's image in their social circle. The bigger Aurora becomes, the smaller her PR work appears. I walk to the window, staring at the city. Behind me, Elizabeth and James wait silently. Not family by blood, but allies who value what I've built. Document everything, I say firmly. Every canceled contract. Every complaint. Every suspicious incident. We're not just defending Horizon now. I turn back, a new resolve hardening. We're protecting Aurora from those who should have protected me. The next day, I stand in Aurora's kitchen, hands trembling slightly as I hold the health inspector's report. 3 post-it notes mark sections I've read countless times. The complaint signature stands out like neon. I found it, I tell Elizabeth near the refrigerator. The report names the caller, a family member concerned about food handling before the Anderson wedding. Her eyebrows lift. A family member? You think, I know. The paper crumples in my grip. Look at the timing. Every inspection. Every complaint. Always right after I mention our biggest clients at family dinners. Elizabeth retrieves a manila folder. I've been tracking this for months. She spreads documents across the prep table. Inspection dates, family dinners, sudden client complaints. And worst of all, a transcript of Melissa's voice. You recorded her? I ask, scanning the page. At last month's vendor showcase. She told Martinelli's Linens she worked with Aurora. Elizabeth's voice hardens. She's been contacting our suppliers directly. I steady myself on the table's cool surface. 15 years I've spent building this company, contract by contract, while my sister planted explosives under its foundation. The Horizon signing is next week. I say, they'll try to stop it, Elizabeth confirms, but now we have proof. Then it's time for lunch with my sister. I reach for my phone, a strange calm in my chest. Someplace public. The following day, I arrive at Bellini's 20 minutes early. The maitre d' recognizes me instantly. Your usual table, Miss Hale? The garden view? Not today, Anthony. something central near the main street windows. He raises an eyebrow but nods. I arrange the evidence neatly beside my glass: the inspector's report, complaint patterns, transcripts. A public confrontation requires careful staging. Melissa arrives 5 minutes late, dressed in a cream suit, pearls, and her perfect PR smile. She air kisses my cheek. "You look tired, Christine," she says. "Those big events must be exhausting." "They are," I reply evenly. "Especially when someone calls health inspectors the day before." Her fingers hesitate on the menu, eyes widening for an instant before she recovers. "What are you talking about?" I slide the report across. "It was you." The restaurant hums with conversation, but silence weighs heavy at our table. "You're imagining things," she says, pushing the paper aside. "Am I?" I place another document before her. Anonymous complaints. Everyone within 48 hours of family gatherings where I shared client details. Her cheeks flush. "I don't have time for this." "Make time." My voice remains calm. "I also have recordings of you contacting vendors, pretending to represent Aurora." Melissa glances around at nearby diners, nervous. She reaches for her water. "Mother's here," she blurts with relief as Evelyn Hale approaches, elegant in burgundy. Her eyes take in the papers, her smile fading. "What's this?" she asks, sitting beside Melissa. "Evidence," I reply steadily. "Proof of sabotage against my company." Evelyn's face hardens. "That's a serious claim, Christine. Backed by serious proof." I turn the inspector's report toward her. It confirms Melissa called, citing food safety concerns. "We were worried about standards," Evelyn whispers. "After hearing about that food poisoning incident—" "There was no incident," I lean forward. "That was a rumor Melissa started. Aurora has never had a single case." A waiter approaches. Evelyn dismisses him with charm. She turns back, voice sweet but eyes sharp. "You've always been dramatic, Christine. We only care about the family reputation." "You weren't concerned," I reply, voice steady though anger burns inside me. "You were protecting Melissa. You were undermining my business." Melissa shifts uneasily as a couple at the next table glances over. For the first time in our history, she's the one explaining while I control the discussion. "I was protecting our family name," Melissa murmurs, leaning forward. "Your catering business reflects on all of us. After what I heard about your sanitation—" "What you invented about my sanitation," I correct. "Aurora Events holds perfect health scores, higher than any other event company in the state." Evelyn places a calming hand on Melissa's arm. "Perhaps we should talk privately." "No." The word comes out sharper than intended. "We've had 33 years of privacy. Now this is public." A murmur from nearby diners confirms what I already know. We have an audience. For once, my family can't rewrite the story behind closed doors. Melissa's composure cracks slightly. "Fine, I called the health inspector. I was worried after what I heard from the Hendersons." "The Hendersons who met with your PR firm last month?" I slide a printout across the table. "The same Hendersons who canceled their Aurora contract a week later?" Evelyn's grip on her purse tightens. I can see her calculating the social cost of this confrontation. "What do you want, Christine?" she finally asks. "I want you to stop interfering with my business, both of you." I look directly at Melissa. "No more calls to vendors. No more rumors to clients. No more health inspectors." Melissa's jaw hardens. "And if we don't? Then the next conversation involves lawyers," I say, gathering my evidence, and includes the district attorney's office. I stand, leaving enough cash on the table to cover all 3 lunches. I've worked too long to let anyone, even family, destroy what I've built. Outside, Elizabeth waits in the company car, her encouraging smile visible through the window. My phone buzzes as I approach. "James," I answer, sliding into the passenger seat. "Contract review with Horizon just wrapped. Our CFO reports. Everything's on track. Not a single question about our operational standards." Elizabeth pulls from the curb as relief spreads through me. "Did you tell them?" she asks, nodding toward the restaurant. "Everything," I confirm, watching my mother and sister through the window, their heads bent in urgent conversation. They know I know. The car turns the corner just as Anthony, the restaurant's owner, hurries out to catch me. Elizabeth slows as he approaches my window. "Miss Hale," he calls, "we're hosting the Chamber of Commerce dinner next month. Would Aurora Events be available?" The invitation, given in full view of the restaurant windows where my mother and sister still sit, feels like more than business. It's validation. We'd be honored, I reply, feeling my first genuine smile of the day. As Elizabeth drives toward the office, I watch the restaurant fade in the side mirror. For the first time since founding Aurora Events, I feel the company's strength stand firm against my family's manipulation. The evidence is clear. The confrontation complete. And for once, I'm not the one explaining. On Monday the following week, I stand at the conference room window, rain streaking the glass. 3 days have passed since confronting Melissa at Vincenzo's. The satisfaction has faded, replaced by cold determination. The Aurora Events conference room now serves as a command center. Documents spread across the 12-foot mahogany table. They'll target the Horizon contract next, I say without turning. It's too high profile. Too valuable to ignore. Elizabeth nods, adding another folder to our growing arsenal. I've been documenting their interference for months. The sabotage always spikes before major contracts. I trace a finger along the timeline we've built. 15 years of Aurora history beside my family's social calendar. Red flags mark every client lost, every vendor price hike, every surprise inspection. Look at the pattern, James says, his gray hair catching the light. Our CFO's analytical skills sharpen what began as instinct. Every setback matches a family event or one of Melissa's PR launches. I sit at the head of the table, no longer a daughter seeking approval, but a CEO defending her company. Framed photos line the walls, presidential fundraisers, celebrity weddings, corporate rebrands, 15 years of building despite constant undermining. What vulnerabilities might they exploit? I ask, tapping my pen. Elizabeth slides a spreadsheet over. I've analyzed vendor ties, client satisfaction, financial stability. We're solid, but there are pressure points. I study it, noting where targeted interference could hurt most. The Horizon contract demands flawless execution across 5 cities, I say. If they can plant doubt about our capacity, James adjusts his glasses. I've prepared full financial transparency. 15 years of perfect audits, tax compliance, steady growth. If they attack our stability, we're ready. Outside, rain intensifies, fitting for our careful planning. I feel no emotional release now, only calm. Strategic focus. I need eyes and ears at the country club, I say. Mom never misses lunch with the hospital board wives. They'll discuss strategy there. Elizabeth nods. Marcus from catering has a cousin on the staff. He's been reporting. Your mother's been asking pointed questions about Horizon's VP of marketing. I note this in my leather planner. James, contact your friend at First National. If they're preparing to question our finances, I want advance notice. Already done, he replies, sliding another folder across. I've also arranged contingency financing if they pressure our lenders. This methodical approach feels right, no outbursts. Just disciplined defense built on years of business sense. I've spent too long reacting. Now I'm anticipating. We should consider, I begin. But Elizabeth's phone vibrates with a text. Her face tightens as she reads. Christine. They've just hired Victoria Foster as their PR consultant. The name hits like ice. Victoria Foster, the PR executive who sued Aurora after we refused to hire her daughter. The lawsuit was dismissed, but she tried to poison client relationships with whisper campaigns. They know, I say quietly. They know exactly where to hit us. Foster still has connections at Vanity Fair and the Journal, James notes, and she's wanted revenge since the lawsuit. Elizabeth adds, this isn't just about the contract anymore. They're attacking your reputation. A flicker of anxiety rises, but strategy steadies me. I underestimated them, I admit. They're not just desperate, they're dangerous. And they know our weak points. They're smarter than I gave them credit for, I say, turning back to the window. The rain has stopped, leaving glistening streets below. Prepare media responses for every possible accusation. We'll counter anything Foster plants. I catch my reflection in the glass, the set jaw, the focused eyes. No trace of the kitchen helper seeking approval remains, only a CEO protecting her work. They want a war, I say. Let's make sure we win it. That evening, I review the documents spread across the conference room table. James leans forward, silver-rimmed glasses reflecting the light as he adds another spreadsheet. The numbers tell a story of success and stability, he says, 15 years of building. Aurora into a powerhouse even your family couldn't stop. These transparency reports should satisfy Horizon. We've never missed a payment. Elizabeth places a leather portfolio beside his. I've collected testimonials from every major client over 3 years. The Vanderbilts were especially glowing about last summer's gala. Good. I tap my fingers on the mahogany. Let's strengthen the contract terms. Ironclad protections against third-party interference. For days, we've worked methodically, anticipating every move. This isn't about the restaurant confrontation. This is about protecting my company, my legacy, my chosen family. We're not preparing for another skirmish, I tell them. We're preparing for war. Elizabeth scrolls her tablet. I spoke with Danielle at Horizon this morning. She said your mother called their office yesterday. My stomach tightens. What did she want? She didn't say. Elizabeth keeps her voice neutral, but I see tension in her shoulders. Danielle thought it odd that Mrs. Hale was asking about project management, specifically who would execute the contract. I freeze. Did she ask about you? Elizabeth meets my eyes. By name. The conference room feels colder. It's one thing to attack me and my company, another to target Elizabeth. They're researching everyone close to me, I say aloud. Not just the business. They're looking for personal weaknesses. James removes his glasses, polishing them. That's a serious escalation. It's smart, I admit. Hating the grudging respect. Target the people I trust and they weaken me. I turn to Elizabeth, whose calm professionalism can't hide her concern. We need to protect you too. I can handle myself, she says quietly, though I see the question in her eyes. How far will my family go? Christine? Elizabeth prompts, reading my expression like always. I need you to be careful. I finally say it. Document everything. No private meetings with anyone from my family. Forward any unusual inquiries directly to me. She studies me for a moment and nods. There's something you're not telling me, she says. There's a lot I'm not telling you, I admit. I'm no longer sure what they're capable of, her expression softens. I've worked with you for 10 years. Whatever they try, we'll handle it together. James clears his throat. I've revised the financial presentations to address any questions about Elizabeth's role in the company. Her record speaks for itself. I glance between them. My chosen family, the ones who believed in me when my relatives wouldn't. The stakes have moved far beyond business success or professional vindication. Now I'm fighting to protect them too. By midnight, we've rebuilt our strategy, additional documentation of Elizabeth's credentials, character references from industry leaders, and tightened security protocols for our communications. Every detail is designed to protect not just Aurora events but the people behind it. James collects his jacket. We're as ready as we can be, he says, his voice rough with fatigue. The Horizon meeting is on Thursday. Elizabeth stands beside me at the window, looking out at the Manhattan skyline. The city lights reflect in her eyes as she says quietly, "They won't know what's coming." I feel a calm settle over me as I look at our preparations, not the anxious daughter seeking approval, but the CEO protecting what she has built. The transformation feels complete, from family subordinate to strategic defender. This week will bring the confrontation I've been preparing for since that Christmas Eve in my mother's kitchen. But tonight, for the first time, I'm not afraid. I'm ready. The next morning at the office, I listen to the Horizon executive's voicemail, my hand trembling as I set the phone down. Emergency board meeting tomorrow, 8 a.m. sharp. We need to discuss concerns raised about Aurora events. The pause in his voice tells me everything. My family has made their move. Elizabeth appears in my doorway, her face tense. Christine? What happened? They went straight to Horizon, I reply evenly despite the storm inside. They didn't just spread rumors this time. They called the CEO directly. James wheels his chair in from the adjacent office, financial reports clutched in his hands. He's been working past midnight for 3 days preparing our defense. The dark circles under his eyes match mine. How bad? He asks. Emergency board meeting tomorrow morning. Complete financial review, I answer. Elizabeth sinks into the chair across from me. They timed it perfectly 1 day before the contract signing. I nod, bile rising. After 15 years building Aurora events, my family chooses now to deliver their blow. The Horizon contract represents everything we've worked for: national recognition, expansion into 5 new markets, Validation of our business model. My phone buzzes again, a text from a longtime vendor. Christine, Melissa called asking about your payment history. Said she was working with your accountant. Seemed off. Thought you should know. I show the phone to Elizabeth and James. They're methodical, targeting our vendors too. James leans forward, his voice low. They're contacting everyone. I just got off with Hargrove Linens. Victoria Foster called claiming to conduct a business ethics review for Horizon. Elizabeth's eyes widen. My stomach tightens. My mother never does anything halfway. The PR lawsuit had been frivolous. My desk phone lights up, 3 messages in 10 minutes from different Horizon board members. They've launched a full-scale attack, I say, scrolling through the voicemails. Look at the timestamps, all within minutes of each other. Elizabeth's fingers fly across her tablet, pulling up our emergency protocol. Your father called Horizon's CEO directly, claiming to be concerned about Aurora's stability due to troubling financial indicators. What financial indicators? James demands, offended. Our books are immaculate. I lean back, a strange calm replacing panic. This isn't just petty sabotage. This is war. He's referencing the Westbrook contract cancellation from last month, I add as the pieces fall into place. Remember how suddenly they pulled out? No explanation, full deposit forfeited? James nods slowly. Your father has connections there. And my mother plays bridge with Mrs. Westbrook every Tuesday, I say. They sacrificed $50,000 just to create a false financial red flag. The calculation takes my breath away. This isn't impulse. It's a deliberate strategic hit. They're positioning themselves as concerned outsiders, Elizabeth says, scrolling. Look at this email. Melissa reached out to Patricia Henderson, claiming she's worried about your decision-making. Henderson sits on Horizon's advisory board. James stands abruptly. I'm calling Hale and Associates. We need their independent audit ready for tomorrow. Already done, Elizabeth replies, sliding a folder across my desk. Complete 5-year financial history. Profitability metrics. Client satisfaction. Vendor payment schedules. Certified copies. Triplicate sets. I open the folder. Aurora Events isn't just stable. It's thriving. Double-digit growth for 5 consecutive years. Excellent credit rating, 0 regulatory complaints. The staff is mobilized too, Elizabeth continues. Every department head has contacted key partners. The strategy we planned in chapters 4 and 5 is fully active. My phone buzzes again. Not Horizon this time, but the caterer from my sister's wedding. Christine, your mother just called asking about our experience with Aurora. Said she was doing reference checks. Told her you're the best. Hope that's what you wanted. I show the message to Elizabeth, who gives a grim smile. They're calling our allies too, she says. But they don't realize we've spent years building genuine relationships while they played social games. The conference phone lights up. James answers on speaker. It's Sarah Martinez, Horizon's procurement director. Christine, I'm calling as a courtesy. We've received some concerning communications about Aurora. The board has called an emergency meeting tomorrow at 8. You'll need to present. I understand, I reply, voice steadier than I feel. We'll be prepared. This isn't standard procedure, Sarah adds, her voice dropping. Someone's pulling strings. Hard. After she hangs up, the 3 of us sit in silence, the weight of tomorrow sinking in. We need to stay here tonight, I say. Review everything. Prepare the presentation, James nods, reopening his laptop. I'll have the full financial analysis in 2 hours. I've compiled testimonials from every major client for the past 3 years, Elizabeth adds, and documented evidence of every sabotage attempt. I watch my chosen family mobilize, their competence a stark contrast to the manipulation of my relatives. The Horizon contract isn't just business anymore. It's proof of everything I've built despite interference. Tomorrow will show Horizon what real integrity looks like, Elizabeth says, squeezing my shoulder. Our numbers tell the real story, Christine. James adds. They can spread rumors, but facts don't lie. I open my presentation software and begin structuring our defense. Later that night, the timer on my desk reads 10:42 p.m. Tomorrow's presentation is at 8 a.m. Less than 10 hours to prepare for the fight of my professional life. As I work through the night, one thought drives me forward. Tomorrow will decide everything. Either Aurora Events secures its future, or my own family succeeds in undoing what I've spent years building. There's no middle ground anymore. The next morning, I step into Horizon's gleaming boardroom, sunlight pouring through floor-to-ceiling windows with Manhattan sprawled below. My heartbeat steadies with each step despite the stakes. 15 years of effort rest on what happens within the next hour. The room grows quiet as I enter. 20 executives in tailored suits sit around a massive mahogany table, their expressions blending curiosity and concern. Across the room, my eyes meet Melissa's. Her practiced smile falters briefly before returning. Behind her, my mother sits upright in a burgundy dress worth more than some of my employees' monthly paychecks. My father avoids my gaze, studying his hands as though they hold answers no one has asked for. At the front stands Victoria Foster, silver-streaked hair in a perfect chignon. I recognize her immediately, the PR executive who once sued Aurora for refusing to compromise its ethics for a celebrity client. "Miss Hale," she greets me. Gregory Townsend, Horizon's CEO, gestures to an empty chair. "Thank you for joining us on such short notice. We have some concerns to address before finalizing this contract." I nod, placing my leather portfolio on the table. Elizabeth sits quietly beside me, tablet in hand. James takes the other seat, his presence steady. Victoria taps her tablet and the screen lights up with Aurora's financial records, or rather, a selectively edited version. After a thorough analysis, she begins with the polished authority of someone convinced of her own claims. We found troubling patterns in Aurora events' stability and leadership. A new slide shows a downward graph. As you can see, client retention has fluctuated sharply over the past 3 years. Additionally, reports indicate inconsistent management practices. My mother leans forward, her voice soft with feigned concern. We felt it was our duty to bring these issues to light. We only want what's best for everyone involved. Once that performance might have worked. But I'm no longer the daughter seeking approval at their kitchen table. "Mr. Townsend," I say, opening my portfolio with steady hands. "Before we continue, I'd like to address these claims transparently." I slide a USB drive to the technical director. This contains Aurora's full financial records from the past 5 years, certified by 2 independent accounting firms. James speaks next, his voice carrying the weight of 3 decades in finance. "If I may, I've prepared a comprehensive analysis that tells a very different story." He distributes folders to each board member. You'll see our client retention rate stands at 87% over 5 years, well above the industry average of 62%. Victoria starts to interject, but Townsend raises a hand, already reviewing the documents. "There's something else you should know," I continue, my voice even despite the fury rising in my chest. "What you're seeing here is not genuine concern, but coordinated interference." I hand Townsend another folder, this one containing documented evidence of systematic disruption targeting Aurora for 3 years. Elizabeth steps forward, activating her tablet. "Permission to present evidence, Mr. Townsend?" At his nod, she pulls up a detailed timeline documenting every instance of sabotage, anonymous complaints to health inspectors, calls to vendors questioning Aurora's stability, even recordings of Melissa discouraging potential clients. "As Aurora's COO for 10 years, Elizabeth says steadily, I've seen a clear pattern. Every major contract negotiation has been preceded by some form of interference. This Horizon deal has triggered the most aggressive response yet." The room grows tense as the board reviews the evidence. My sister shifts uncomfortably, knuckles white around her glass. "That's outrageous," my mother insists, her voice rising. "We've only raised legitimate concerns about Christine's business practices." "Then perhaps you can explain this," James says, pointing to an email on the screen. Melissa contacting Victoria 3 weeks ago, specifically about the Horizon contract. Martin Reynolds, Horizon's chief legal officer, leans forward. "Miss Foster, were you aware of the personal relationship between the Hales when you prepared this presentation?" Victoria's composure slips briefly. "I was approached as a consultant regarding legitimate concerns." "Legitimate concerns," I repeat, opening another file. "Like the health inspector sent to our kitchen the day before the Williams-Thompson wedding? The one who noted the caller identified themselves as a family member?" I pass around the inspector's report. "Or the calls to 3 of our vendors suggesting Aurora was in financial trouble," I add, placing phone records on the table. "Calls trace back to your home phone, Dad." My father finally looks up, his expression caught between shame and defiance. "Your business wasn't built on a solid foundation, Christine. We were trying to protect you from failure. Protect me?" The words leave before I can stop them. "By actively undermining everything I've built?" Townsend clears his throat, studying the documents. This appears to be personal sabotage disguised as business counsel. He turns to Victoria. Your presentation misrepresented Aurora's financial position. Victoria begins to respond, but Townsend cuts her off. More concerningly, these actions appear coordinated to interfere with our negotiations. A board member I recognize, Sarah Winters, Horizon's VP of Operations, speaks up. I received a call last week questioning Aurora's ability to manage our relaunch. The caller identified herself as Melissa Hale. She didn't mention she was related to Christine. Melissa's composure cracks. I was simply sharing relevant information about a company I know well. You don't know my company, I reply, anger sharpening my voice. You've never visited our offices, never attended an event, never acknowledged our success except to undermine it. I rise, addressing the board directly. Aurora Events has a 15-year record of excellence. We've managed presidential fundraisers, coordinated disaster relief efforts, and built a reputation for integrity. What you're seeing today is the culmination of years of interference by people claiming concern while working against us. At that moment, 3 executives enter, representatives from companies who've partnered with Aurora for years. One by one, they testify to our reliability, excellence, and integrity. I've seen Aurora Events manage million-dollar projects with flawless precision, says Thomas Richardson, CEO of Richardson Hotels. They're the only company we trust for our international conferences. Melissa rises suddenly, her tone sharp. This feels like an ambush. We came here out of genuine concern. No, you didn't, Townsend interrupts, scanning the documents before him. These records clearly reveal a pattern of deliberate interference aimed at undermining Aurora's opportunities. He faces my family, his voice firm. Let me be clear. Any further disruption to Horizon's business relationships will lead to legal action. Miss Foster, you should consider legal advice regarding your role in this matter. Victoria quickly collects her papers, avoiding eye contact as she leaves. My mother stands, her flawless posture betrayed by a slight tremor in her hands. We only wanted to protect the family reputation. The family reputation? I echo quietly. For 15 years, I've built a business rooted in integrity, excellence, and transparency, values that should elevate any reputation. The only damage here is caused by your own actions today. Townsend rises, signaling the end of the exchange. Miss Hale, Christine, the board will deliberate briefly, but I believe we've seen enough to reach a decision. Please wait outside. The next 30 minutes in the waiting area drag like hours. Elizabeth squeezes my hand. No matter what happens, you've already won. They can't harm you anymore. James nods, quiet pride in his expression. Numbers don't lie, and neither do we. When we're invited back, my family is absent. Townsend stands at the head of the table, unreadable. After reviewing the evidence, he begins, Horizon Resorts has unanimously decided to award the contract to Aurora Events. Relief sweeps over me so strongly I grip the table for balance. Furthermore, he continues, we'd like to expand beyond the original agreement. We want Aurora as our exclusive global event partner. Vindication floods me. 15 years of work finally recognized not just with a contract, but with industry validation I never received at home. We value partners with integrity, Townsend adds, extending his hand. Today showed why Aurora is the right choice. We signed the expanded $4 million agreement. In that moment, I shed the image of the kitchen helper and overlooked daughter. I am Christine Hale, founder and CEO of Aurora Events, now acknowledged as an industry leader. Elizabeth embraces me as we exit. You built this on integrity, not connections, she whispers. James nods, pride in his eyes. 15 years of doing things right finally paid off. The street bustles indifferently, but I stand taller than ever, free from chasing approval that was never offered. Let's go home, I say, meaning our office, where my value was always seen. I stand on the stage of the Waldorf Astoria's Grand Ballroom, spotlight on me as hundreds applaud. The Crystal Award in my hands casts prisms across the crowd. Success demands both talent and boundaries, I tell the audience. The Aurora Foundation exists to support women entrepreneurs whose families failed to recognize their vision. From the front table, Elizabeth beams, silver hair elegantly styled. James sits beside her, the financial strategist who helped turn Aurora into an industry leader. Business journals called the Horizon contract a turning point, and they were right. 6 months of coverage secured Aurora's place as the premier luxury event firm on the East Coast. Meanwhile, my parents withdrew from public life, their social calendar empty as society absorbed the revelations. Stepping off stage, Elizabeth hands me champagne. To boundaries, she whispers. And to the family we choose, I reply. James joins relaxed. 35% revenue growth in 6 months. The board approved new offices today, Miami and Denver, Elizabeth says. CO has a nice ring. Not as nice as permanent CFO with profit sharing, I tell James, watching his eyes widen. Christine, you believed in Aurora when my family didn't, I remind him. You deserve to share in what we built. A memory flashes. Last Christmas, trembling hands arranging rosemary sprigs under my mother's dismissive eye. I almost lost everything, I murmur. But you didn't, Elizabeth answers firmly. You protected it. Later, as dessert is served, I see them, my parents and Melissa, awkward in formal wear, holding embossed invitations. I'd sent them as courtesy, never expecting them to come. Crossing the room calmly, I feel none of the old tension. Christine, my mother says, her voice unusually hesitant. She looks older, her makeup unable to hide the strain of lost standing. Thank you for coming, I respond with professional courtesy. There's a table reserved for you. The silent auction closes at 10. My father shifts. The Miami expansion is impressive, I nod. The Horizon contract opened new doors. Melissa studies me differently now. Your speech was impressive. Thank you, I say, excusing myself to greet the mayor. 6 months earlier, Aurora's holiday party filled our Manhattan headquarters. Instead of laboring in my parents' kitchen, I laughed with 60 employees as caterers served dishes I designed. No trembling hands, no dread. Just connection with people who valued both my creativity and leadership. Now Elizabeth moves through the ballroom discussing the Aurora Foundation with donors. We've already helped 3 women launch businesses, she tells them. Women dismissed by their families, just like Christine. The program provides funding and mentorship. Last Tuesday, I met with Samantha, a gifted planner pressured to take a corporate job. Trust your instincts, I told her. Respect isn't just earned, it's required through boundaries. James appears. The Williams Group wants to discuss Seattle. Shall I bring them over? Absolutely. As I turn, I catch my mother's gaze across the room. For a moment, she nods, a gesture somewhere between acknowledgement and surrender. 1 year after that Christmas Eve, the transformation is complete. The daughter, once dismissed as kitchen help, now mentors women entrepreneurs and hosts industry leaders. When the event ends, Elizabeth gives me the foundation's first annual report. 3 success stories already, she says, with more applications weekly. I flip through pages of women proudly running bakeries, floral studios, and an event agency in Boston. When family shows you who they are, believe them, and then build the life you deserve, I say quietly. Elizabeth smiles. That belongs on our letterhead. As we prepare to leave, my father approaches alone. Your grandmother would be proud, he says awkwardly. She always believed in your cooking, I study him. She taught me more than recipes, I reply. She taught me that talent deserves respect. He nods once, then walks away. Outside, snow falls softly over the city. Elizabeth links her arm with mine. Next year's gala will be even bigger, she says. With even more stories to celebrate, I add. The lights shimmer through the snow, and for the first time, Christmas feels not like dread, but possibility.